The Prime Ministers of India and Pakistan spoke at the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly. The Indian Prime Minister largely focused on global issues like climate change and renewable energy, while highlighting his country's progress in tackling poverty alleviation. On the other hand, a big part of the Pakistani Prime Minister's speech was dedicated to the issues regarding Kashmir and radicalization. Is it right to say that the Pakistani Prime Minister used the UN podium to blackmail the world? Do what we want, otherwise we will be radicalized. Do what we want, otherwise we will use nukes. This is somehow what the Pakistani PM said, but in a smartly sugar-coated and an indirect way. But before we make any conclusions, let us understand things from a different perspective. In his speech, the Pakistani Prime Minister brought Indian Muslims into discussion. He said, "There are millions of Muslims in India. Do you know what they must be thinking? If there is a bloodbath, Muslims will become radicals. You are forcing Muslims into radicalization. They will pick up arms." Well, this statement from the Pakistani Prime Minister indicates that in a way, he assumes that he can influence Indian Muslims. But what Pakistan's Prime Minister may want to understand is that Indian Muslims are not Pakistanis. It is absolutely reckless to compare Indian Muslims with Pakistanis. For instance, Indian Muslims like Abdul Kalam and Sipla's Yusuf Hamid are global role models. Not only that, as a part of the Indian army, Indian Muslims have fought wars against Pakistan and sacrificed their lives for India. From Afghanistan to many countries in the Gulf region, India has very healthy relations with multiple Islamic nations. Even though India itself has one of the highest Muslim population in the world, it does not present itself as a savior of the global Muslim community, as it believes in the prosperity and well-being of the entire global community. On the other hand, the Pakistani Prime Minister presented himself as the savior of Muslims, but his own country has a poor record with many nations like Bangladesh, Iran and Afghanistan. On occasions, even Islamic nations have blamed Pakistan for spreading terror in their country. For example, in February 2019, after a suicide attack at the Iran-Pakistan border, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps chief warned Pakistan to punish the responsible group that executed the suicide attack in Iran. He stated, "If Pakistan fails to punish them in the near future, Iran will do so based on international law and will retaliate against the terrorists." Iran's deputy foreign minister even met the then Indian foreign minister, and both nations agreed on close cooperation to combat terrorism in the region. Even Iran's deputy foreign minister stated, "Enough is enough." While trying to act like a true well-wisher of the global Muslim community, Pakistan's PM strangely forgot to mention the atrocities and human rights violations against Muslims in China. He also forgot to tell the world how Pakistan was among the countries which officially signed the joint letter that praised China for what it was doing to Muslims in Xinjiang. The letter was sent to the UN's Human Rights Council. India practices what many other nations can only preach. Without claiming that it is the savior of any particular community, India continues to save lives and serve humans across the world, many among whom are Muslims too. Indian drugs save the lives of many in Pakistan, the Middle East, Africa, and in almost all parts of the world. Through its massive participation in the United Nations peacekeeping operations, India serves people from all communities all over the world. Not only that, on multiple occasions, India has given millions of dollars in aid to Pakistan to help its citizens who suffered from natural disasters. Well, if the Pakistani Prime Minister is truly concerned about Muslims' well-being, what are his views on the Muslim victims of the 2008 terrorist attack on Mumbai? Who killed those Indian Muslims? Which country did the killers come from? After the speech from Pakistan's Prime Minister at the United Nations, India gave an official response which stated that Pakistan is a home to 130 UN-designated terrorists and 25 terrorist entities listed by the UN, and it is a country which has shrunk the size of its minority community from 23% in 1947 to 3%. On the other hand, the percentage of Muslims in India has increased consistently. Allow me to add an interesting fact here. The Prime Minister of Pakistan tried to express his love for minorities, but very strangely he forgot to mention how in his own country a non-Muslim is officially not allowed to become the head of state. Does that sound ironic enough? See you again.